Mom, why are you crying? My 17-year-old daughter Emma found me at our kitchen table, trembling hands gripping her college savings statement, where there should have been $18,247. Money we'd scraped together for 12 years. There was $73.41. Emma pulled out the chair beside me, her backpack hitting the floor. What's wrong? Is it Dad? Mom, you're scaring me. I handed her the bank statement, watching her face drain of color as she processed what she was seeing. Where did it go? She whispered. Did someone hack our account? I wished it was hackers. But the withdrawal authorization was legitimate, bearing my mother's signature, the same signature I'd authorized for emergency access when Emma was 6, and I was going through my divorce. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Hope you saw the beautiful wedding photos on Facebook. David and Sarah looked absolutely radiant. Thank you so much for helping make their dream wedding come true. Emma read the message and went rigid. Grandma took my college money. She took my college money for Uncle David's wedding. This wasn't just theft. This was a calculated decision to sacrifice my daughter's future so my golden child brother could have his fairy tale wedding. And she was celebrating it on social media. Mom, what are we going to do? School starts in 3 months. I already put down deposits. I turned down other scholarships because we said we had the money. I called the bank with shaking hands. Emma pressed against my side, clutching that devastating statement. This is Jennifer at First National Bank. How can I help? After explaining the situation, Jennifer confirmed my worst fears. The withdrawal was authorized on June 15th with proper identification. June 15th. The exact day my mother asked me to babysit my nephew while she ran errands downtown. While I was making grilled cheese sandwiches for her grandson, she was across town draining my daughter's college fund. The transaction was legal, ma'am. Both account holders have withdrawal access. Emma was already on her laptop, pulling up Facebook. Uncle David's wedding photos showed a luxury resort, a dress worth thousands, massive floral arrangements, ice sculptures, and a live jazz band. This cost at least $50,000, Emma whispered. They used my college money for ice sculptures that melted before the night was over. My protective instincts roared to life. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about my child's dreams being casually sacrificed for a party that would be forgotten in a year. You need to understand the family dynamics that made this possible. My mother had spent my life treating my brother David like a precious prince while I was the responsible one who never needed help. When David dropped out of college to become a musician, she financially supported him for 3 years. When I struggled as a single mother during my divorce, she told me to manage money better. When David got his second DUI, she hired an expensive lawyer and covered his rent. When Emma needed $200 for National Honor Society, she said, money was tight and Emma should earn it herself. 2 weeks later, she spent $800 on a vintage guitar for David. The college fund was my way of ensuring Emma would never depend on my family's conditional generosity. I worked double shifts, drove a 15-year-old car, and hadn't taken a vacation in 8 years. Every sacrifice was for Emma's future. Emma, I need you to call Grandma right now, Emma said with steely resolve. I want her to explain why Uncle David's party was more important than my education. When my mother answered, her voice was sickeningly cheerful. Did you see the gorgeous wedding photos? Wasn't it magical? Mom, we need to talk about Emma's college fund. The silence stretched forever. What about it? You withdrew $18,000 without asking us. Everything I did was perfectly legal. You gave me that access yourself. Emma grabbed the phone. Grandma, why did you take my college money? My mother's voice turned condescending. You don't understand adult finances, sweetheart. Family comes first. There are other ways to pay for college. What other ways? I already committed to State University. Student loans. Everyone gets student loans. It builds character. Emma's voice went deadly quiet. But Grandma, you said student loans were dangerous when Uncle David wanted to borrow for music equipment. You said you'd rather help him than see him struggle with payments. Another pause. That was different. David was building a career. How is it different? I want to become an engineer. How is my education less important than Uncle David's music? Hobby? Sometimes sacrifices have to be made for the greater good of the family. I'm the one being sacrificed. You gave my money to someone else. Emma hung up and immediately started documenting everything. She screenshotted wedding photos, researched venue costs, printed acceptance letters, and found the original bank paperwork, restricting my mother's access to emergencies only. Then she called her guidance counselor at home. Mrs. Rodriguez, this is Emma Thompson. I need help with my college financial situation. After explaining everything, Mrs. Rodriguez was shocked. Emma, what your grandmother did is theft under our state's educational opportunity protection laws. This is a crime. Have you contacted police? Emma found legal precedents, support groups, and law firms specializing in family financial crimes. Mom, in our state, taking designated education money over $10,000 can be prosecuted as a felony. There's something called grandparent fraud. She'd researched everything: legal precedents, recovery resources, nonprofit organizations, helping students whose college funds were stolen by relatives. We need to file a police report tomorrow, not just for my money, but to protect other kids. What if she does this to cousin Marcus in 2 years? My 17-year-old was handling this crisis with more maturity than any adult in my family had ever shown. Are you sure you want to involve police? Once we do this, there's no going back. This will explode our family relationships. Emma looked at me with eyes older than 17. Mom, they exploded our relationship when they stole my future. Now we're just making sure everyone knows who lit the fuse. We drove to my mother's house that evening with documentation Emma had organized like a seasoned attorney. My mother wasn't alone. David sprawled in his chair while his new wife Sarah sat with her designer purse. Before you say anything, my mother announced, David and Sarah have agreed to pay back the money over time. We've worked out a payment plan. Over time? Emma stepped forward. I start college in 10 weeks. How much time? David barely looked up. We'll pay $500 a month, maybe $600 if we have good months. You'll have it back before you graduate. Before I graduate? I need it now for tuition due next month. Sarah spoke with entitled condescension. You're being dramatic. Plenty of students take loans. It's not the end of the world. Then my mother revealed her true manipulation. Emma, the money was never really yours anyway. It was family money, in your name for tax purposes. This was a complete lie. I had 12 years of records proving that maybe 2,000 total came from other family members. That's not true, I said, pulling out documentation. I can prove exactly who contributed what. My mother's expression turned cold. David needed this money to start his marriage properly. Emma has other options. What other options? She could take a gap year and work, start at community college, find a nice young man to support her education. I couldn't believe it. My mother seriously suggested Emma should delay her dreams or find a husband to pay for education. Emma's voice was deadly calm. So I should give up my full scholarship to honors engineering, where I'm starting sophomore-level math courses, so Uncle David could have swan ice sculptures? Then David made the biggest mistake of his life. He looked at my brilliant daughter and said, let's be realistic. You're a pretty girl. You'll probably get married in a few years anyway and won't need the engineering degree. Sarah and I actually need this money for our future. The silence was complete. My mother didn't correct him. Sarah actually nodded. Emma looked at me with blazing eyes. Mom, I think we should leave. I have important phone calls to make. As we left, my mother called after us. Don't do anything stupid. This is a private family matter. Emma turned around one final time. Grandma, you stopped treating me like family when you stole my future. Now you'll find out what happens when you mess with the wrong teenager. By 8 the next morning, we were at the police station. Emma had researched Detective Martinez, who specialized in family financial abuse. I see cases like this more often than people think, Detective Martinez said, reviewing Emma's documentation. What makes this particularly strong is the clear educational designation and substantial amounts stolen. Emma had prepared a complete timeline, bank statements, documentation of actual contributions, and screenshots of wedding expenses from social media. The bank froze my mother's accounts pending investigation and revoked her access authorization. Detective Martinez got a warrant to examine her financial records. Within hours, my phone exploded with calls. My mother was hysterical. How could you call police on your own mother over money? You called police on my daughter's future when you stole her college fund. David panicked. You need to drop this. I could go to jail. You're destroying our lives over a college fund. You should have thought about jail before spending Emma's money on champagne fountains. The investigation revealed this wasn't my mother's first theft. She'd stolen from cousin Marcus, my aunt's inheritance, and my uncle's disability settlement. This was a pattern spanning years. My mother was charged with 4 counts of financial fraud, 2 counts of theft from a minor, and elder, financial abuse. David and Sarah were charged as accomplices since they knew the money was stolen. The court ordered full restitution plus punitive damages. David and Sarah had to liquidate assets, cancel their European honeymoon, and move into a friend's basement after court-mandated payments began. 6 weeks later, Emma received a call from State University. Miss Thompson, we're awarding you an additional merit scholarship for resilience and advocacy skills. You've also been selected for our leadership development program. Emma had turned a devastating crisis into a demonstration of strength and integrity. The additional scholarship, combined with recovered money and court damages, meant she'd graduate debt-free with money left over for graduate school. The extended family accused us of being vindictive, but Emma and I had never been happier. We chose justice over toxic family loyalty, and we won. David and Sarah's marriage didn't survive the financial stress. When the fancy venue was gone, they discovered they had nothing else in common besides entitlement to other people's money. Emma started college on schedule with full funding and a prestigious scholarship. She added financial law as a second major, specializing in protecting minors from family financial abuse. She now runs a campus support group for students dealing with family financial abuse and has helped 12 others recover stolen educational funds. Her professors use her case as a real-world example of advocacy and resilience. The support group has grown to over 40 students and recovered more than $200,000 in stolen educational funds statewide. Emma's courage led to new state legislation making it harder for family members to steal from children's educational accounts. Her willingness to fight back has protected thousands of other kids. People ask if I regret involving police, if I regret destroying family relationships over money. My answer is always the same. They destroyed our relationship when they decided Emma's dreams were worth less than David's wedding party. We just made sure everyone understood what happened. Emma learned that her voice matters, that her future is worth fighting for, and that adults who claim to love you should never ask you to sacrifice your education for their convenience. When you mess with our kids' futures, when you try to steal their dreams and tell them it doesn't matter, you're going to discover exactly how fierce a mother's love can be. Some of us would rather lose our entire toxic family than watch our children lose their opportunities. Emma is now finishing sophomore year with a 3.8 GPA and internship offers from 3 major companies. We celebrate her grades with dinners, costing exactly what one of David's ice sculptures cost. Our reminder that investing in education creates lasting joy, while expensive parties create nothing but debt and regret. Did we do the right thing? Absolutely. Because protecting our children's futures is worth any price.